Hey Bio20s, here is, and I hope this is going to be our final photosynthesis lesson video. This one is going to be all about the Calvin cycle because so far we haven't even talked about one of the main products of photosynthesis, and that's the sugar that's made. All we've been talking about so far is where are the reactions occurring, where are these pigments found. We've been talking a lot about the light-dependent reactions happening in the thylakoid of chloroplast, but so far we haven't been talking at all about the Calvin cycle and the stroma and sugar making. So that's what today's topic is on. It is all about the Calvin cycle. So I want you to just go into your booklet here and turn to the page on the Calvin cycle, the light independent reactions. They do not require light. This can be happening any time of the day. And so these light independent reactions are finally, now we're getting to talk about the good stuff, the food that's being made, the sugar, the glucose. So we've talked about how water gets oxidized, it makes oxygen, that's happening in the light dependent reactions out in the thylakoid membrane. But now today's topic is the CO2 that comes from the atmosphere is made into sugar. So these Calvin-Benson cycle or Calvin cycle or carbon fixation or light independent, does not need light to happen reactions, are happening in the stroma of the chloroplast, in the stroma, the gooey, liquidy part of the chloroplast. Okay, so let's talk about how the CO2 is reduced to make sugar, the food for the plant. And this diagram, pretty complex. So I'm going to simplify it for you and break it down really easy for you to understand what happens in these light independent reactions. So first of all, carbon comes in, diffuses in through a stoma, plural stomata, gets into a plant cell in the leaf and gets right into the chloroplast, makes its way into the stroma, and then this one carbon CO2 is going to join up with a 5 carbon dude, and there should be a small little u here, RUBP. You don't need to know what it stands for, but what happens is the 1 carbon and the 5 carbon are going to join together. This carbon dioxide that is fairly useless to the plant just out in the environment needs to be fixed. It needs to be made into a usable form. So the enzyme Rubisco kind of, to me, sounds like breakfast cereal maker, like Nabisco shredded wheat, right? But no, it's an enzyme. It's called Rubisco. And he's going to join together the 1 carbon. You can do the math here. 1 and 5 makes 6 carbons. And so this process, this first step, is fixing the carbon fixation, making it into a useful compound that now the plant can use. Now along comes these products out of the light dependent reaction. So we've built up with all our other videos talking about these important products from the light dependent reactions. We've got our NADPH, the high energy, the reducing power, the electron carrier, and then we've got the ATP molecule made by the chemiosmosis. These high energy molecules are going to reduce the 6 carbon compound into a 3 carbon compound, and this reduction stage is making the actual end product of the Calvin cycle. Oh, you thought it was glucose? Nope. It is this 3 carbon compound, 2 different names for it, PGAL, phosphoglyceraldehyde, or G3P, but that 3 carbon compound is the actual end product of the Calvin cycle. Okay, so here we fixed the carbon, step 1. Now we reduced it, okay, gained electrons. Remember the NADPH and ATP, that's the high energy electrons are passed on to make the 3 carbon compound that is the final end product. And then we're not done yet. We now have to recycle this RUBP, this 5 carbon dude, and this RUBP molecule, once it's recycled, this cycle can go on and on and on and keep on going. Okay, so this is the sugar making, and it's 3 simple steps. Fix the carbon, make it useful. Enzyme Rubisco does that. high energy compounds, reduce the carbon, we get PGAL and G3P, and then we recycle the RUBP to keep on going and continue the cycle. So when you take the 3 carbon compounds and put them together, that's how you get the glucose. That's how you get this food that the plant needs. But there's different fates to the glucose. So the glucose can then be changed into whatever the plant needs it for. It could be used for cell respiration, because remember, plants also have cell respiration happening in the mitochondria, making energy for the plant. But the glucose can be made into sucrose. That is a sugar found in plants. It can be made into starch. So like potatoes have lots of starch. Okay, it's a compound that stores sugar. Or plants need the glucose to make cellulose. And you recall that the cellulose is part of the cell wall that gives it its structure and stability. So this is it, guys. We've done light dependent, we've got our light independent reactions, we've made glucose, sugar for the plant, light dependent made oxygen, and that is photosynthesis.